What's up guys, it's your boy Gripst here. I hope you're having a beautiful day. I'm finally back now making some Rust content on this new channel after 5 years. Today I'm gonna show you guys how to solo and become the absolute best player within a few hours of gameplay on a low pop server in Rust. You don't have to follow my instructions exactly, this is just how to show how you can do it. Anyway, before we go into this video, I would very much appreciate that you subscribe, hit that notification button and leave a like. Let's get this channel up and running, shall we? At the end of the video I have a big announcement, don't miss it. Spoiler alert, free stuff for you. Also, feel free to write a comment down below and I promise I'll answer everyone. Tell me what your thoughts about this video are and how you would have played it. I'm also open to criticism and feedback, so don't feel bad about texting me if you felt this way was just horrible. We all make mistakes and spoiler alert, I also make a few mistakes during this video. Like I mentioned, today I'm playing solo and this is taking place on EU Trust Rust 2x Solo Duo. Go check out their website, Discord and Battle Matrix right after this video. The server is really great, especially for new players. It's a 2x server, 2x lootable crates and 2x gather rates. The server also have additional plugins like 55 minutes daytime, 5 minutes nighttime, which of the most modded servers today have enabled. There is 2x smelting, faster respawns of everything, including Bradley, cargo and heli. The server also comes with 2 more plugins, which in my opinion are the best plugins on the server. It's the fast recycler and the instant restock in shops. In that way you don't have to sit and wait a long time to recycle and for stores to respawn. Spoiler alert, I will have a great surprise for you guys at the end of the video. Just make sure you watch the whole video and don't jump ahead because you might miss out on some really important knowledge.
Nice.
The server also have a few commands, most important \TOD which shows time of day and \who that shows who is online. With all that being said, let's jump right into the action, shall we? First of all, this is a low pop server, which used to be a high pop. I'm making the video here to help out the owners of the server. I'm not gaining anything for it, I just want to show new players or average players how you can easily progress and become a dominating player within just a few hours. That's why I've chosen to put on a timer for you guys to see just how much you can accomplish within a few hours of play. With that info, let's get started. This server just wiped no more than 5 minutes ago, and there was only me and another player on right now. With that said, I didn't feel like getting jumped right away, so I could play a bit more relaxed than I normally do. Always in the beginning, it's important to scout out the map to see where you should build. For me, I would really like to live close to water treatment plant on this specific map. Here, I also had easy access to outpost, launch site and not far also the bandit camp. One monument that was sadly not on this map, which is really good for a solo, especially in the beginning, was the Zero Branch. It only takes a green key card and a fuse to get down there and get a lot of loot. But since that the water treatment was in such a good location at the map, I felt good about living close to it. In water treatment there's a ton of crates, and if you get yourself a blue keycard you can easily take all crates and recycle for components and make a ton of scrap. Let's start out by getting ourselves some tools, like a hatchet, pickaxe and bow, so we can defend ourselves. And let's get some comps and some scrap from the roads, and let's go and recycle for even more scrap. The scrap is the value, like money in Rust. Not many people think about it as such, but it's important to gain a lot of scrap to progress fast, like getting yourself workbenches, research useful stuff like mats, guns and ammo, and later on explosive if you want to raid your enemies. Normally people will get a green keycard and go either harbor or satellite dish to get a blue keycard. However, living so close to outpost and collecting a lot of scrap this early in the game, I just planned on buying a blue keycard in the outpost, along with the jackhammer, which make it super easy and fast to get a lot of resources, like stone, sulfur and metal ores. I might as well already now research some stuff while I was up on scrap, like syringes. Next up, let's find ourselves a place to build our home. You don't want to build too close to the roads or to monuments in case you want to expand your base. You want to build on a flat area too. I think this one I found here is a good place as any on this map. It's important to build from inside and out. Make sure your base is secure and make sure to slap down a tool cupboard in your base right away. Put a key lock on it if you are solo or a code lock if you are duo. Make yourself an airlock with 2 doors and put key locks on them. Make sure that you have enough resources to upgrade all your floors, walls and ceiling so no one can come in. As you can see here, I made my first mistake. It doesn't matter if there's a few people online or a lot, always upgrade your entire base floor and walls and ceiling, otherwise you will get jumped and might have to start all over again.
I'm in danger!
Also make sure to put down a sleeping bag not only inside your base but also around the area, so if you get killed you can easily get back fast. I was maybe too eager for getting myself a lot of scrap in the beginning of this wipe, that I didn't focus enough on building my base up correct from the start.
Really? You don't say!
Well, I just farmed a little bit and soon after I had secured my base a bit better. I made another mistake here already by slapping down my collected large furnace. I had already made a lot of low grade from the animals I killed early on, so the normal thing would be to make a few small furnaces inside the base, and while having the large furnace running without it being protected in a compound or a furnace base, everyone who would, they could just come and steal my loot.
You're a fucking idiot.
Next up, I expanded my base a bit more so that people couldn't just get in from the roof. I still ran back and forward to water treatment to get a lot of components and scrap, put down a tier 1 and a tier 2 workbench. After I did that, I wanted to explore the map a bit more. I promised myself that I would show new people to Rust how to get on top of launch site, to collect military crates along with elite crates. I went on my horse to the supermarket just north of launch site, which was the closest supermarket with a green key card on the map. On my way there I just found a bit of sulfur, I might as well. But then my eye caught up with something, a horse that was leaning up against the wall at launch site, which they don't normally do. This had to be one of the other players on the server. And since I didn't have anything other than a bow on me and I was on a mission to show you guys some stuff, I just yoinked his horse and ran away to supermarket. In supermarket I got some more stuff. Since the supermarket doors was still having this wall protection on them, it was safe to say that my enemy didn't live close to here. So I had that back in my mind, however he might live close to launch site. Since I was already up on this side on the map, I had my blue card on me along with my new acquired green card. I wanted to show you guys the train yard and do the train yard puzzle. However, there was no scientist near the recycle room, which had to mean that it was recently just taken. Just to confirm my suspicion, I checked for the switch there, and it was on. I had just checked that N-Ray, my enemy, was the only one online at the moment, and I had to check out at the blue room if it was empty, and it was. There were only a few components left on the ground. It had just been taken moments ago. Now I could confirm that suspicion I had, that N-Ray had to live close to launch site and close to train yard, but not north of launch site, so it had to be in this area. I ran towards my home and on my way I did find his base. It was built out in the open for everyone to see it. I made a mistake by making too much noise close to his base when I pulled out my bow. Just when I had done it, he immediately started to upgrade his base to armored. I can't say whether or not it was because that he heard me, but clearly he was in a hurry of doing so. After checking out his base for a little while, I went back to take the blue room, but I found that it had already been looted, along with the switch room. Clearly, I saw a pattern now from N-Ray. He must have been going to train yard, launch site and water treatment, just when I was one step behind him every time. So right now he must also have gotten himself a pretty good amount of scrap. I caught my losses of not getting the loot from blue rooms and train yard and water treatment, and I just headed home. When I got back to my base, I saw that my large furnace was empty. Although I only had 2 or 3k metal in there and 1k sulfur, it had still been stolen. It was really my own fault, since I didn't just put it inside and made small furnaces for it. Still, at this point I couldn't tell if it was N-Ray or someone else who had come across my furnace loot. However, once I got back into my home, me and N-Ray texted a little bit. Mostly because of this toxic kid who was just angry about the kits you could get on this server, which I actually didn't tell you guys about yet. You see, there is a possibility of donating or buying packages on this server. In my opinion, it is not a lot you can get with the money you put into it, but I'm not judging. The people who have made the server, set up plugins, homepage, Discord, and also put time and money into it are some really nice and helpful guys. So I would never trash talk about the kits, VIP stuff, etc. I am, as you have might seen, not much into kits, VIP status or anything else in that matter. And why is that? Because I don't feel like I want to get an advantage. The VIP package here doesn't give you a great amount of advantage, like starting out with a small weapon and basic resources. Well, I feel that you can always get these stuff for yourself just playing for 10 minutes in the game. With that being said, I still find it fine that people can use the option if they want to. I will also say that I have not yet on this server or on the previous vibes seen anyone bought this VIP stuff yet. Another thing you guys might have already seen is that I'm not really much into skins. It's a personal matter and I don't see the point. For trading, making money, losing money, it's a purpose, yes, for me not so much. I can see the benefit of having a fully green clothing kit if you live in the woods, or white if you're living in the snow, so you can better camouflage, but I would never spend money on stuff like that. Okay, now I got that off my chest, let's get back into the progress. Another reason for me to collect so much scrap here in the beginning of this specific server was that I could get myself enough scrap to buy a rifle early up in the game, along with a few bullets which I didn't research. Once I had a tier 2 workbench, I could make meds and 5.56 bullets for my rifle. This would make me feel a lot more secure, also now that the military transporter was out and soon would drop a crate in either train yard, water treatment, or even at the top of dome. Plus, when the cargo ship would come out, I didn't have to rush out and get myself a weapon, I could just go straight to it. In bandit camp I did gamble a bit on the wheel, which I don't recommend people doing. I did also recycle and also won a little bit of extra scrap so I could buy the LR300. The most expensive rifle in the game, but for me also the best equipped. I've never been so good at PvPing and I've never been good with an AK.
That's the coolest fucking story I've ever heard in my entire life. That's insane. Can I hear it again?
I looked briefly at the map and saw that the crate had been dropped in train yard. And if N-Ray or another player had gone to it just when it had landed, then I had 15 minutes before it would open. N-Ray, he had already gotten 2 blue rooms before me, so I had to be quick and get the crate this time before him. In hindsight, I did play way too passively. I went to get even more scrap and I hadn't even made bullets yet, so time was ticking away. I rushed home and I researched the 5.56 bullet. I also made myself some meds and I was ready to go. On my way to the train yard, I came upon his base again. Stupid as I was, I stood there for some time, glanced at his base to see if it was inside. But I didn't hear anything, so I headed further up to the train yard and glanced yet again. When I was glancing over train yard, there I saw him, N-Ray, on the top of the recycler building.
Enemy spotted.
I slided down from the rocks and took another look at him, but it looked like he had spotted me. Time was everything here, and I just had to snuck around all the buildings to get to him and the crate. But when I got there, he was gone and the crate was too. In the passing 5 minutes of time, there had also been an airdrop close to water treatment. At least I could get to that one, I thought, but no, I couldn't find it. And now I really wanted to get it back at Enray. I spent 5 minutes scouting around his base, and I didn't want to door camp him or offline raid him, but in a way I wanted to get back at him. Only a few minutes after, he eventually went offline, so now I was alone on the server yet again. I looked at his base, estimated how much it would take to raid him if it would come to that. I went back home to my base and I took a short dinner break. I came back online after 15 minutes and I realized that heli was out. I could already have taken it if I had just expanded my base already with a heli roof. But there was not enough time to do so. I had not even filled up my small furnaces with sulfur and metal ores yet. So that's another rule I always make for myself. Always have your furnace running. And for scrap, I would have been making some horizontal embrace to slap on my windows. In my luck, I remembered something though. On this server, once heli is out, the cargo usually also comes out at the same time. That was great timing for me, because I really needed scrap. I could also get the 3 lock crates that spawn on cargo, and they would definitely have some C4, rockets, explosive, and that stuff for future raids. Also, normally I always buy a mini heli early on in the game, but since this is to show new players how to progress, a lot of you might not be used to flying in a mini heli and you prefer to run, ride horses, or even build yourself a nice car. So with that being said, I took my remaining scrap and I went for the fishing village where I could buy a small motorboat. One thing I always do before I rush to buy a small motorboat is to check near the coastline if there already should be a boat there. Then you can save yourself at least the 125 scrap it costs to buy the small motorboat. And as you can see here, I was in luck, there was already one close by. Also, make sure before you go to cargo that you have enough syringes and a weapon you feel comfortable with. Plus, having enough fuel for the boat, unless you buy one, then there's always either 50 in it or 100. I will say this now just so you don't judge me too hard, that my FPS was really swinging at the moment I was recording and being a bit nervous of doing so, and I really had a lot of lag. Plus, my aim was horrible. I didn't die out there, I took the scientist down but barely made it. In hindsight, I would have bought more extra syringes, but at least I made it, woohoo. Since I was already early out there, the military crates and basic crate they spawned a lot around the ship, always mostly down in the 2 lower decks. So every time I had a full inventory, I just rushed up to the rig boat and stocked it with my loot. And once the crate opened, I could sort the stuff in and out. And here you are, I opened the 3 crates. Let's take a look at them. Okay, in the first crate, there we have a scope that I desperately needed for my rifle, some metal chest plates, which I normally just put in the recycler since I know I'll get a ton of them later. Plus, I hate getting cold all the time, and mostly I just gear up with nice full kits when I go into battle. You guys will see it later. Then there is a wind turbine, which will come in handy later on when we'll make traps in our base. And an air supply, so free airdrop right there. Info, I only use mine when I'm alone on the server or when I'm far away from everyone. Don't want to lure people to my base. Then we have a useful gun, some bullets, components, camera, they can also go into the recycler, the pipes too, and now we got some explosive items to research, so when we want to raid. Yeah. In the second crate we got ourselves a C4 for raiding, a metal face mask, pipes for recycle, barricade, which we could use for compound, but not in this wipe we won't. A camera can also go for recycling along with a small gun. We got an armored door that's good for more protection at the base, and a few extra bullets. And here we have the third and last crate. Not great, but still a lot of stuff for recycling. And now we got ourselves a horizontal embrace window. We also got ourselves a little Tommy, which is a nice tier 2 weapon. Let's see if we'll keep that one, or we should just recycle it. And we also got 70 HQ. Now that is done, we want to get back to the base. It's always good to look at the map. Do we want to get near to our base, near outpost, and recycle and run back and forward 2-3 times back and forward? Or do we go back to the fishing village where we can also just recycle in peace? And not to forget that we have our white horse right there as well. Yeah, I think it's most convenient that we just go back to the large fishing village. And let's see if we can squeeze in between here.
That's what she said!
Okay, now on to recycle all the stuff that we don't need. Even though it's a great way to raid now with the newer update with MLRS rockets, I still prefer it the old way. But feel free to keep whatever you want in your inventory. This is just the way I have always been doing it. It's favorite to me in progressing early on in the game. Everyone plays the game differently and I'm not judging. But do keep in mind that there is a good reason for what I'm doing here. It will also be shown the further we get into this video. Let me just skip ahead to the end of the recycle run so you can see just how much we gained from this little trip to cargo. Okay, so there you have it. Still a lot of bullets. We got 2500 plus scrap. That is minus the ones we brought with us. We got an air supply. We have the explosive, the C4, the wind turbine, a shotgun trap for our base, 1000 club, 500 GP, double armored door, single armored door, a ladder hatch, 30 gears for making garage doors or ladder hatches or whatever we want. We also got over 2.5k metal and over 600 high quality. And a few fuses if we still want to do the puzzles. So yeah, there's one more thing in there, that's the fluid combiner. I'm not gonna tell you just yet what it's for, although you might already have guessed it. It's safe now to say, for me, the best friend for me in Rust is the recycler. So now it's just going back on our horse and back with all this nice loot. We have to watch our back a bit though, because a few players have already joined the server yet again. So if we lose this, it'll be a major setback. Okay guys, we made it back home. Now to put all that new scrap to use, I have just the idea. Rockets and HV rockets. Let's go and take Bradley down. But before that, let's use more scrap for the ladder hatch and what else we can research. So when heli comes out next time, we will have built up a few ladder hatches, a floor, and made a shooting floor to take it. And let's also upgrade the base a bit more with all the HQ we got, so we won't be suddenly raided if people should come by and with just a few C4s from air supplies or crates they found. It still happens from time to time on low pop servers. That is a real shame to lose all the loot you just gained plus our base if we suddenly should be getting jumped. Okay, so now that's done, let's go and take Bradley down. I bought with me 8 HV rockets and it takes 7, but in case I miss one or that the game should bug, we won't have to run all the way back again. I also bought with me a few syringes if Bradley hurt us, and if there should come some counters to try and kill us and steal our Bradley's loot. Now that we're here, I find it best to tag Bradley and make it come underneath me, so here we go. Now that Bradley has been taken, it's a good thing to keep an eye out for counters. I'll admit that I'm pretty open sitting here, but I also have a good overview and a good weapon and a decent armor on me. After a little while, Bradley was soon gonna stop being on fire, so I jumped down and then I could for sure hear someone run or fall down, just for a split second. Did you hear it too? Yeah, for sure someone was here. If I didn't have on my headphones, I would for sure have missed it. And there we go, that was Henry. I finally got him. He was trying to get me, or at least the Bradley's loot. Not this time, my friend. I will though say that this is not a good idea to go and loot just like I did now. There could be other counter raiders. Henry could even have a teammate, although his base had key locks on it and not code locks. Normally I would stay and recycle here, but I couldn't know if anyone else was around, so I took all the loot and rushed back home in safety. But let's quickly go over the loot we got from Bradley, shall we? Crate 1, not the best. We just got attachment, a ladder hatch, 2 cameras and 2 MLRS rockets. The second crate was a lot better. We got the best sniper rifle there is, the L96, and the 16 scope for it. We got attachment and a lot of rifle ammo, plus 60 explosive ammo for raiding, and flame rockets for recycling. Gives you a lot of low grade, some GP, metal, and a chance of explosives. And the explosive we can make into real rockets for raiding. Then there was another ladder hatch and 2 times computers. And then we had crate number 3. Well, another mistake on my behalf. I actually only got the 2 crates in my hurry. Something did happen with the crates, but not to worry, we will come back. So I did just that. I made it home, depoted and got back. I took a few stuff that was on the ground there, and on this server, if you hold H and take stuff and your inventory is full, it will land on the ground. I don't know if that's a bug or what it is, but just be aware of it, because you might have left stuff behind. Also, always I bring a jackhammer to the heli and Bradley after the flames are out. Wait a few minutes and then you can jackhammer it and get yourself a good amount of metal and HQ and some car coal. It's free metal and HQ, so why not just take it while you're there? I checked to see if N-Ray was still online, but he had left. Maybe he had rage quit after our little battle there. I hope not, because I really want to give him an online raid at some point. Hopefully he would be back later or the day after. Anyway, there was a new crate at train yard, so I went to turn it on. Killed the scientist there, took the crate and military crates around there, recycled and went home to store the stuff. And I decided to take all my components that I didn't need to outpost, and that was mostly the stuff just from Bradley. And here's just to show you guys again how much I got just from a single recycle run from one Bradley takedown. 750 low grade, 1500 gunpowder, 2200 metal, 160 HQ, 1500 plus scrap, 3 explosive and a bit of cloth, wood, sulfur. Again, the recycler shows that it's the man's best friend. Now I was thinking about making a compound with all the scrap I just got to research the stone walls and stone gate. Instead of that, I was thinking I would like to take the attack heli at least one time before I went offline that evening. However, my base was some way still okay strong if I just expanded it a bit and just put in some extra doors or garage door before logging off. So I went out to farm some wood and farm some nodes so I could fill up my furnaces again. When I was out farming the nodes, I came across a base near mine in the snow. At this point, I thought it was one who had built there from the beginning of the wipe. Maybe this was the guy who had even stolen my large furnace resources. But looking back at my recording, there was no base early on in the wipe, so it had to be N-Ray who had stolen my resources from my furnace earlier on. I could only assume it was this guy, Love Me Daddy. He was the only one online and he had been so for a few hours. It was actually an okay place to set down a base for him, a good flat area in the snow. It would be perfect for a farmer and if his plan was to raid me. But looking at it, having someone live so close to me and in the snow, I never liked that. Well, I couldn't do much about it right now at this point, since I wanted to take the heli before I went off for the night. and it would be nice to follow one plan for once. So, I realized I did not have enough metal cooked up yet to finish the heli roof, so I decided to spend all the scrap on metal from the outpost. 10,000 metal frags, that should be more than enough. So back to the base I went and finished the shooting floor. As I was building, I found myself making even more mistakes, because making a heli roof I always build one more floor out on the base underneath, so it sticks out. And also I prefer having my shooting floor up in a 5-6 floor height, but recording and being almost out of time before the next heli would come out, I would just stick with my plan of building the base as I was doing it now. A few more players have come online, and I just wanted to secure my base as fast as possible, honeycombing the outer layer and making a few more garage doors. When I finally finished that, I made a lot of more bullets and syringes for future battles with heli and with enemies. Since heli didn't show up yet, I thought I might as well go and take Bradley once more, but just when I was going for it, the military transporter dropped a crate in water treatment, so I went to activate it. And just when I was going back to get ready to take Bradley once again, the heli spawned. So I made it back home, and lucky for me I had the sniper rifle to tag it. Because of the route it comes in, I wouldn't have been able to tag it since I was too slow to get home. I will show you the route of the heli on this map. And now let's just take the heli down, shall we? I always found that the best and fastest way to take the heli is to shoot down the propellers. First take down the upper one and then the back one, and it will go down easily. During the fight with the heli, my FPS was really bad. I could feel a big difference from not recording and to this. Sounds like the biggest excuse, I know. I will admit I'm not the best at PvPing either. But finally I took it down, and I went over there to scout out for counters, plus I checked up on the crate that soon would open. Heli finished burning and I looted it. Let's take a look, shall we? Okay, crate 1, massive profit. 4 C4s and 3 rockets. Rating, here we come. In the second crate was bullets, not massive, but at least we got the explosive ammo for rating. In the third crate we got the same bullets, that's fine, and by the way, I always recycle the red fire bullets for more GP and to make explosive bullets or rockets. And the last crate, shit. Okay, there's at least one crate that has either shitty stuff or attachments, which is pretty shitty. I will tell you what is the best things you can get from the heli. Sometimes you can even get 2 boxes with C4 and rockets in them, so that's 8 C4s and 6 rockets, and hopefully sometimes you can also get an M249. That's the best and most powerful weapon in the game. Okay, after I was depoting, I ran straight back to the crate and water treatment. It had some okay stuff in it, double armored door, some kits and stuff for the recycler. When I was there, I also took the heli with the jackhammer, so that was nice with some easy metal and HQ. Well guys, that pretty much sums up day 1. I played only 5.5 hours and look at all that we achieved. Tomorrow I plan on doing a bit of online raiding, making a little compound, set up some traps and just take heli and Bradley when I'm bored. Also, like I said in the beginning of the video, I have a big surprise for you to see that'll make you filthy rich. Let me show you just how easily it also is to farm sulfur with a mini heli, since I always hear people complaining that it takes too long, and that's not true. And also, I promise you guys I will sort my boxes so you'll have a better overview over my loot. It's not something that I do very much because it's valuable minutes I feel you're losing on doing so instead of progressing here in the beginning. But all that tomorrow. See you in 10 seconds. And if you haven't already subscribed and left a like, be sure to do so. And please leave a comment down below, I would really appreciate it. Okay, good morning guys. Looks like we're not raided overnight. And we are early in the server, it's 10 PM, so we are actually the only ones here. Since we are the only ones that are online, we might as well go and take Bradley, because there'll be no counters, plus we can also use our air supplies here at our base and not get into fights over it with any other players. On this type of server with the faster respawns, there might be a chance sometimes that there are even 2 Bradleys at launch site, and they might even be stuck on each other. That means you can take both Bradleys with only 7 rockets. Plus the crate that drops down at the water treatment train yard or on top of dome, we can easily go and yoink these. So I just collected my stuff for the Bradleys and... oh, never mind, heli is out, let's take heli. We can always take Bradley later. After taking heli down, I went back to check up on my neighbor in the snow. Didn't look like he had been doing much since I went offline last night. I scouted the base out a bit and tried to decide whether or not I should raid this guy. I didn't have a good reason to, other than he might be raiding me or farm up in the snow for a raid against me. For now, I just let it slip. I went back to the heli loot. It's safe to say that it was pretty disappointing in all 4 cases. Okay, you can't win every time, let's go and take Bradley next. There was still only 1 Bradley there, but I quickly took it and recycled. Starting to think now what to show you guys next. Keep in mind, I want to show people how to progress. That means sometimes you have to do things over and over again to gain profit. But I decided it would be more interesting for the sake of the video to show some more stuff that was out of the ordinary. It would for sure not be a bad idea to buy a mini heli from Bandit Camp. 750 scrap was soon nothing, keeping in mind that I still didn't even have gotten myself a workbench level 3 yet. Most of the time people only make a level 3 workbench when they're getting ready to raid someone. I had already gotten a lot of boom from heli, Bradley crates and airdrops, so instead, with my new acquired mini heli, I just wanted to show you guys just how fast and easy it is to farm sulfur. Let's see how much we can farm in just 10 minutes, shall we? So there you have it, we made it back with over 10,800 sulfur in less than 10 minutes. Let's calculate it and see how much boom we can get with this after I smelted and made most of the GP. In average it will be 5 rockets or 500 explosive ammo. Of course this is not including wood smelting and metal for combining, but you get the picture. If you want to see how much it costs to raid, just download the Help for Rust app on iOS, it's free. I took a break from playing and decided to come back in the evening. It was late, 11:15 PM, so now people had had a chance to progress all day. But when I came on the server and saw that even though they had been online in and out, the bases still looked the same. That always concerns me. that people come online only to play for one night or just for a few hours and then they never come back. In that case, I wouldn't waste my time on waiting any longer for these guys to come back online, so I could give them an online raid. So instead I decided to offline raid my neighbor in the snow, at least just to see if he had anything. I thought this guy had a bunker base, and that was not even the case. Not alone that, I wasted some explosive raiding him just to find that that was not really much there. I decided however to put on an unlocked tool cupboard there so he would at least have his base, if he decided to return. I hate offline raiding, but as far as I could see on Battle Matrix, this guy who owned this base, Love Me Daddy, he was already playing on another server, and even for a long time, so I don't think he was coming back. I took all the necessary stuff from his base. He had a lot of stone, so I might as well put that to good use, making a little compound. The compound had to wait though because I needed a little action, so I went to take Bradley. This time there were two, and I took both of them when they were stuck on each other, so I saved some rockets, and I got a ton of loot. I went home and depoted and made myself a little compound. I misplaced my gate, so I had to jackhammer my large furnace. Not to worry, I could easily just buy a new one. Also, I made a room for my mini heli on top of my base, along with external TCs around the base. That way people couldn't jump in, only if they used ladders. Finally, I added my wind turbine, and I set up my large battery, combined it all to my newly made turrets, and placed them around my base. I felt there was no reason to show this part since there's a ton of videos on YouTube how to make this. So now we have finally soon reached the end of the video. Like I promised, I wanted to show you guys the thing where you can become insanely rich in Rust. That is, if you do decide to play on a server like this, that has this plugin called Instant Restock. It's for shops in Bandit Camp and in Outpost. See, there was a reason why I saved all my hemp seeds along this wipe, and now I'll show you why. The only thing you need to do is to build a farm base. It's pretty fucking simple, and I'll just show you how. Just kidding you guys, I'm not gonna let you sit there and watch me build an entire base again. But if you follow the link and follow that guy's instructions, you will not regret it. Anyway, let me just jump ahead to the end of my grown plants, and then we can take it from there. So now I have returned after a good break. I made extra seeds by taking clones over and over again. I also forgot to tell you that you can easily make 3 floors with this setup. That is kind of the plan with it. You can even add even more if you wish, but for now let me just harvest the plants that are now in the ripe stage, or about to, which give you 35 to 40, and that is 350% more and 400% more than normal 100% plant give you. So why do you do all this? Well, let me show you. Now you got from just this one floor 11,500 cloth in average. Also keep in mind that this is a 2x server, so you'll get twice as much when you harvest. I'm just taking now all the cloth that I saved up during the game time. Next up, we fly over to Bandit Camp. Okay, let's do some math on it. So if we calculate it with that we got 75 cloth in average for each plant, and we have 9 plants in a box and 18 boxes for each floor, then we get 75 times 9 times 18. That's 12,150 cloth just for one floor. This is super easy, and it's just by collecting our plants once every 2.5 hours. And let's say we have 3 floors of large planter boxes with hemp plants. That's 3 times 1,510. That's 4,530 scrap every 2.5 hours. So, what can we do with all this scrap, you might ask? Well, since we already at that stage where we have everything researched that we want, we might as well get filthy rich getting even more GP. We fly with our newly acquired scrap over to Outpost. Here we trade in scrap for smoke grenades, and then we just recycle all of them, buy all we can and recycle over and over again. This process only takes like 10 minutes. Just be aware of other players if you decide to use all 3 recyclers like I do here. It speeds up the process, but anyway, there is a fast recycler plugin on the server. And there you have it. 1510 scrap will give you 302 smoke grenades. One smoke grenade will give you 18 GP and 25 metal fragments. That means 5463 GP and 7550 metal. Keep in mind that this is only by taking one floor of cloth and trade in. Imagine having 3 floors or even more. Just saying. In a few hours you can become so rich that you can build an entire empire of metal fragments and at the same time get enough boom to raid or fight all your enemies. Well guys, that wraps up the end of this session. I hope you enjoyed and that you either learned from it or at least I could inspire a bit. In future I'll try to make videos more often, so please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Who knows, maybe you have an idea for the coming videos. And maybe you would like to come in and join us on this great server. More people will join in time. Keep in mind that I did play on a Tuesday and Wednesday, but when wipes come on weekend there will for sure be more players here. So keep an eye open for future wipes. And as promised, I had a surprise for you here in the end. If you share this video now, follow, comment and like, I'll send you free stuff merch out on my own pocket. Be one of the first to do so and I will send you free stuff. Give some love and support for this upcoming channel. Till next time guys, take care, peace.